Okay, welcome to this webinar called Function, Structure and Selection of Main DYNASET High Pressure Water Products and Applications. My name is Mikko Heikkilä. I'm a sales manager, area sales manager in DYNASET. My area is Japan, Korea, Latin America, and Spain and Portugal. First of all, we are going to see the HPW high pressure water pumps. The pumps itself, which is core of all the other high pressure water products. And some words about it before is that power to size ratio is best on the market. It doesn't get any more compact. And there's no rotating parts, which means that there's less tear and wear in the pump components, and no scheduled maintenance, as there's no separate engines or separate oils or anything. So only thing you have to do is change the seals every once in a while, and no separate engines. But first, let's see one video about the HPW pumps, and then let's continue with the live webinar. One of the great benefits of hydraulically powered water pumps is the compact size of them. I'd like to show you a couple of examples of that. This pump here on the edge of the table, the maximum water pressure is 90 bars, 1,300 psi, and the maximum flow is 150 liters per minute, 40 gallons per minute. This pump weighs 11 kilos, meaning 24 pounds. And the water output power is 12.5 kilowatts. That means approximately 1 kilowatt per 2 pounds. And then we have slightly bigger pump here. The power is 40 kilowatts. And the weight of the pump is 36 kilos, 79 pounds. So this pump is also approximately 1 kilowatt per 2 pounds. The power to size ratio doesn't get really better than this. These pumps are made out of better quality materials for more demanding situation. These pumps are made for subsea use, and seawater is one of the most harsh and demanding places for any water pump. This water pump is made out of a special aluminum bronze alloy, which has really great mechanical and chemical resistance. And this pump is made out of stainless steel to endure all the seawater effects and fulfill the subsea use requirements. Let's take a brief dive into the pump technology. Quite normally, hydraulically driven water pump is a triplex pump where you have an attached hydraulic motor. Then the hydraulic motor is powering the gear mechanisms and crankshaft inside the pump casing. And then with a piston rod, you finally get to the actual water piston that is pumping the water. But there is also different way to do that. Okay, this pump is made with patented DYNASET technology. I'll explain the basic function of this pump. First, here in the middle, we have hydraulic piston. And the hydraulic piston moves inside the pump back and forth. Directly to the hydraulic piston, we have secondary pistons, which are pumping actually the water. So this system replaces all the gears and crankshafts and all of that, what's normally in triplex pump. So let's take the situation where this piston assembly is moving to your right. First, the hydraulic pressure is directed on this side of the piston, and the hydraulic power pushes the piston assembly to your right, which forces the water out from here in the end to the pressure channel through the water valves. When it reaches the final position, there is a valve inside the hydraulic piston that automatically changes position and diverts the flow to the other side of the piston when the piston assembly moves to the other direction, and then again, and then again. So that is the basic structure and function of this pump. With this technology, we can make a hydraulically powered water pump even smaller than normally. And with this structure, you don't need any programmed maintenance. The water pistons, they don't need any lubrication, and the hydraulic part is lubricated by the hydraulic oil itself. This was our short introduction to the hydraulically powered high-pressure water pumps. As you see, they are very versatile, very flexible, and they don't get any more compact than this. Okay, so there was the video showing some different pump models and how the pump actually works inside. Here we have a breakup picture of the HPW 250 showing all the main parts of the pump. We don't have to study all of them, of course, but you have a general picture of how it's made. Number one is the center body there, where inside it the hydraulic piston moves back and forth. Number 2 and 3 are the heads, which have the water. They are receiving the water. And number 4 is the PT block. PT block meaning pressure tank block. So there you have the connection for hydraulics. There are several options for the PT block. We are going to speak about them a little bit later. And pressure cords, and actually in this picture number 11 we have unloader valve, which means that when the set pressure is achieved, the pressure side of the water is connected to the suction side, and so the water circulates from pressure to suction side. For example, when washing pistol is closed and there's no open line in the water pressure side. But just a quick overview of the pump structure. Quick overview also of the pump models what we have. The number behind the HPW means the maximum water pressure what the pump can do. These are not actually in this picture. They are not in a power order. They're just in the water pressure order. HPW 90 has maximum water flow 150 liters per minute, so it's a lot more powerful pump than, for example, HPW 160, as HPW 160 has only 18 liters per minute. But you can see the pressure scale. HPW pumps go from 90 bars to 1,600 bars. Okay, so if you are acquainted with our pumps, you might have been the names of the pump. So let's quickly see the product identification. Number 1 is the product group, in this case HPW, high pressure water pump. 200 means the maximum water pressure. 30 is the maximum water flow, and 45 is the maximum hydraulic flow to the pump. And after that, we have list of different variations. They can be hydraulic variations, different kind of hydraulic block on top of the pump, or different materials. We'll see them later on also. A little bit about main options what you might have in HPW hydraulic pumps. There's water unloader valve, which means that the valve directs the flow of water from pressure side to suction when the water pressure line is shut off. And this option is marked in the product name of HPW 200 and 250 as ST, and other pump models have PA. Then one thing what can be included in the hydraulic block of the pump is flow limiter, pressure compensated flow limiter, VR. And the flow limiter limits the oil flow for the HPW. So the pump can be operated at partial load instead of maximum flow. For example, HPW 250 has maximum hydraulic flow 40. And the hydraulic flow directly means how much water output there will be, liters per minute. So maybe we don't want the full water flow, so we can limit the hydraulic flow, and therefore we will limit the water flow. Also, the flow limiter can be used as protection, so not to exceed the maximum hydraulic flow and thus preventing overspeeding of the pump. One of the options is pressure relief valve. Reduces the oil pressure from 4 HPW. Pump operation at partial load instead of maximum pressure. For example, again, HPW 250. 250 bar is the maximum water pressure that the pump can achieve. But for some operations, we don't need that much water pressure. Maybe we don't even want it. So if we limit the hydraulic pressure lower, then we will also limit the water pressure. There's a small mistake. It's not a pressure relief valve, it's a pressure limiter valve, but small thing. Then we have material options. There's a M model, which means that parts that could more easily have corrosion are changed into stainless steel, like unloader valve pipes or bolts and plugs. So those parts that should be opened later on, they maintain free of corrosion. Stainless steel, center body and heads. It's marked with AIS, ICE. Center body and heads of aluminum bronze, AB. Underwater use, SUB, subsea. Center body and heads are made of stainless steel. The plugs are made of stainless steel and the bolts are made of stainless steel or they are coated. Also, there are options for seals. For example, HPW normally can operate up to 70 degrees Celsius. And if the temperature gets higher, you need a hot version seal kit inside the pump. Also, we have ATEX versions of the pumps for explosive atmospheres. ATEX pumps have restrictions what kind of metals or which content of certain metals the pumps have. Okay, so that was the list of the options. Let's see about a little bit more in detail the most common hydraulic options. HPW base pump without any options. It has only the standard PT block on top of the pump without any hydraulic valving. So we can't, with the pump itself, we can't limit the water pressure or flow. So the adjusting has to come from the hydraulic circuit where the pump is connected. So if we feed less hydraulic flow, then the water flow will be less. So if you would have this pump, for example, in a fixed displacement pump hydraulic system, if you close the water pressure line, then the pump doesn't move finally, and the relief valve of the hydraulic system will open. Base pump can be used easily, for example, if the water pressure line is always open without shutting it off. For example, few nozzles, that when you run the pump, the nozzles are going to spray right away. Then the option of unloader valve. It's not actually a hydraulic option, it's on the water side, but anyway. So with the unloader valve, we can adjust the maximum output pressure of the water. So if you adjust the unloader valve with the knob in the picture to 150 bars, when the water pressure reaches that limit, it starts to circulate from the pressure side to the suction side. One thing to notice here is that, of course, when liquid is just circulating from pressure to suction, it starts to warm up. So limit for unloader mode is 5 minutes. Otherwise, it could be harmful for the pump seals. Then one common hydraulic option for the HPW is VRP8 block. So you would have this instead of the normal PT block on top of the pump. And VR stands for flow limiter and PA stands for pressure limiter. VR in the picture is position 7 below left corner on the picture. It's a fixed flow cartridge inside the block. And this flow rate has to be chosen when you order the pump, because it's not the cartridge itself, it's not adjustable. So it can be just limiting to the maximum hydraulic input flow just to protect for the pump, or then lower hydraulic flow to get less water output. If for some reason you would like to change the hydraulic input later on, the cartridge, it's quite easy to change into the block. So then you just have to purchase another cartridge. The pressure limiter valve is position 5 in the picture, low right corner. And this is adjustable. So later on, you can adjust the hydraulic input pressure higher or lower, and therefore also adjusting the maximum water output pressure. This flow limiter can be also installed inline version. So the cartridge have this casing that you see in the picture. And this is relevant because any hydraulic equipment can need a limitation of hydraulic flow. Like I said, the flow limiter is pressure compensated. So even if the pressure level of the input is varying, the output towards the DYNASET product maintains stable in the same level. And for the HPW, this can be used to limit the hydraulic flow in order to limit the water output flow, or just for protection to avoid overspeeding. Like previously said, there's also options for materials. And one of the most basic material in the, let's say, lower pressure values is aluminum. As a material, it's really economical and it's easy to machine, so it's also economical to produce and enough for most common pressure classes, and therefore it's really good option. Aluminum has a little bit limited chemical resistance, but all the pump parts are anodized, which improves the chemical resistance. And let's say in normal conditions, in normal work, there's no problem at all using aluminum pumps. Like I said, with this material, we can get inexpensive pumps with a lower pressure level. Or some part of the pumps, even high pressure pumps could have suction manifold made of aluminum. Then aluminum bronze, AB. It's easy to machine, so it's quite economical to produce. It has very great mechanical and chemical resistance. As a material, it's quite more costly than aluminum. But when you need special pumps for special atmospheres, that's the material has to be varied, of course. Aluminum bronze alloy is used for demanding conditions, subsea mining, ATEX for explosive atmospheres. And then we have stainless steel. Very good chemical resistance, bit more challenging to machine, so the production is a little bit more expensive, and also the material is more costly. There are two grades of aluminum steels that we use depending on the situation and pump. Grades A2 and A4, where the A4 is higher grade. And stainless steel is used when we can't use aluminum bronze because of the high water pressures. Okay, so that was a quick look of different basic options what we can have as hydraulic valving or materials. There's also more info in detail. Here, please feel free to contact our sales. Now we have data sheets of the HPW pumps, and I'm not going to read all the obvious values there, but there is something I would like to highlight from this table, how to read it. If we see the HPW 200 in the left column, we can see that there is a pressure maximum 200 bar. And it needs, if we go lower in the table, it needs 210 bars of hydraulic to reach 200 bar of water. And sometimes there's a mix-up in thinking that people think that, oh, I don't have 210 bars, so I can't use the pump. There's no problem at all. It's a maximum pressure. So even if you have 80 bars of hydraulic pressure, you can still use the pump, but you don't just reach the maximum water output, what the pump has capacity for. It goes more or less linearly. So if you compare the water pressure and hydraulic pressure and the portion, how much you lower the hydraulic pressure, in same portion also in same relation, the water pressure is dropping. So if you need the pump just for dust suppression or normal power washing, it's okay if you have hydraulic pressure of 150 bars. This pump works very fine for that application. Then there is second thing I would like to point out. We see the pumping fluid requirements, the third orange box, and there's maximum suction head and below maximum feed pressure. Or feed pressure limits. And the feed pressure limits are minus 0.3 to 16 bar. And the minus means that there's some restriction in the suction hose, and it shouldn't be greater restriction than going down to minus 0.3. That's why the suction head maximum, for example, is 3 meters. If you increase the suction hose length, then the pressure drop will be more in the hose, and then the feed pressure goes too low. So this is to avoid cavitation. And one thing, there's the water filter 80 mesh or better. So even if the water is tap water, or we suppose it's clean, we recommend having a filter always, because sometimes from water outlets you get surprises coming out. And the second part of the data sheet, And here, just to point out about the suction feed pressure, and let's look at the pump at the right, HPW 1200, sorry. The feed pressure is from 3 bars to 16 bars. So this pump actually needs feed pressure for the water suction side. Just to notice this part of the data sheet. Okay, some ideas. As you saw from the data sheet, there's many different basic models of water pumps in our lineup, and then there are many different materials, different hydraulic options, but there might be an occasion that you can't find correct flow or pressure combination from our pumps. So the pumps can also be installed in parallel, like in the picture. So you have the symbol on the left. If somebody is not very acquainted with the hydraulic symbol, that means hydraulic pump. The circle with the arrow outside pointing outside. So the hydraulic line is divided in two for two separate HPW pumps. So with this, you can get double water flow. Let's say, for example, that you need 90 bars of water and 300 liters. Okay, we have 90 bar pump, but the pump is only 150 liters per minute output. So we can have two of them, and then we can reach 300 liters of water per minute. Of course, you will need double the hydraulic flow also for two pumps. And same thing, a little bit differently, HPW pumps in series. Again, two pumps. Let's say an example that you need 40 bars of water, but you would need 300 liters per minute. If we install two HPW 90 pumps in series, we can get maximum 45 bars of water and 300 liters. And the hydraulic input is the same that would be for one HPW pump. So we can double the water flow, but the maximum water pressure is divided by 2. And you can have as many pumps basically as you want, but then the maximum water pressure always drops, dividing by the quantity of the pumps. And maximum water output is multiplied how many pumps you have connected in series. So, although we have a big collection of pumps, the collection is even bigger if we think that we can use several pumps if necessary. Some products that are closely related to HPW as a product. First of all, installation valves. We don't provide only the pumps. We are happy to help with hydraulic installation whenever necessary. We just need enough information about the hydraulic system to offer the correct ones. And I like to mention separately VR pressure compensated flow limiter, because it's a great protection for any hydraulic component. We can offer water suction filter, different hose reels, different kind of washing pistols, sandblasting kit, different nozzles. And also when HPW is used, quite normally there's some kind of tank that has to be filled up frequently. So we have this HSP Hydraulic Submersible Pump that you can fill water tanks really fast from water source. We'll mention that later last in this presentation also. So just to give you an idea that it's not only pumps we are providing. Okay. Next one in line, we have HPW Dust, high pressure dust suppression. The requirements of, for example, demolition sites in the city areas, densely populated areas, they are getting more strict all the time around the world. There's a lot of dust created in the work. And there are different kind of systems for that. There are mist cannons and just spraying water. But I'll speak about our system. Our system is so that we have the pump installed on the machine, and the water pressure line is directed to the boom, and then the nozzles are near the attachment where the dust is created. And as we use high water pressure, we get small water droplets, and the small water droplets binds best into dust particles. If they are big droplets, then the dust particles just evade the water droplets in the air. The mist is sprayed directly to the source, to the attachment, where the dust is created, and from a short distance. So even if there would be strong wind, the mist spray is so close that it reaches the target without any extra aiming. And as we have small size water mist, and from short distance we have small water consumption. So there's no sludge and mud created. For example, if you think about just spraying water with the water hose, the mechanism makes everything just wet, and then the water goes down, and all the terrain, all the material that has been demolished gets wet, and there's a lot of sludge and mud. And as our system is integrated into the working machine, you don't have to have separate mist equipment or separate personnel to operate separate equipment. Okay, but let's see a great animation of the dust suppression system.
DYNASET HPW Dust High Pressure Dust Suppression System is the most innovative dust control system for mobile machinery in the market. It converts the hydraulic power of a mobile machine into a high pressure water mist. It is used in demolition, street cleaning, quarrying, crushing, recycling, and wherever dust suppression is needed. The HPW Dust system produces atomized high pressure water mist to suppress the dust and preventing it from spreading into the environment. To get the maximum dust suppression performance, spraying nozzles are to be installed onto the base machine's attachment head or near where the dust suppression is needed. The HPW Dust uses the power from the base machine's hydraulic system. It is typically installed in the base machine's existing hydraulic lines with DYNASET PVSI priority valve kit. The priority valve allows operation simultaneously with other hydraulic functions of the machine. The HPW Dust system uses DYNASET's HPW High Pressure Water Pump, which converts the hydraulic power into high pressure water. The water for the HPW pump can be taken from a water tank or from a tap. The high pressure water is pumped through the dust suppression nozzles, which create the high pressure water mist. HPW Dust system can be installed with double dust feature. The double dust feature reduces the water consumption by providing basic dust suppression flow for continuous use and a high power flow when extra dust suppression power is needed. When watering the worksite with traditional low-pressure dust suppression system like a gardening hose, the airflow over the large water droplets prevent the dust particles from contacting the water droplets. In this case, the dust particles continue flying around them. High-pressure dust suppression system, the small water droplets of the high-pressure water mist won't affect the airflow. The dust particles make contact with the small water droplets and fall down due to the increase of their mass. Additionally, base machine can be equipped with the spraying nozzles for falling objects. Nozzles provide dust suppression for dust created by objects falling and hitting the ground. When using DYNASET HPW Dust, there's no need for other dust suppression equipment. The worksite has less emissions, water consumption is minimal, and the dust suppression won't wet the whole worksite. Thank you for watching. If you like this video, hit the like button, leave a comment below, subscribe to our channel and hit the ringing bell to get the latest and greatest news from the world of hydraulics. More info about our products can be found from our website, dynaset.com. Until next time, have a great day.
Okay, that was quite good video to explain the basic function of HPW Dust system. Quick overview: when one purchases HPW Dust kit, what are the parts included in it? And one thing is hydraulic installation valves. Regardless what kind of system there is, it's included in the kit. The water pump, and then for the water pressure side, there's included nozzles, nozzle holders that can be attached to the attachment or the boom tip. All the needed couplings for the water pressure line to divide that one line, originally one line, to all the nozzles, and also the needed couplings, quick couplings to attach washing pistol. Intake filter for the water, washing can and the hose is included, and if the kit includes double dust function, then the water solenoid valve to open the water pressure line to extra nozzles, it's all included in double dust kit. So if we say shortly to the water pressure side, only thing that has to be procured locally is the hosing, the water hose. We can't know the distances or lengths of the hoses needed for every machine and every application, so that's something that should be procured locally, and luckily it's quite a basic part, so shouldn't be a problem. And for the water suction side, we provide the filter, but then the water suction hose should be procured locally again. Okay, so that's regardless of kit, that are the main things that are included in this product. Basically, the HPW Dust could be built from many different pumps. We have 4 basic, like standard options that we have built ready. HPW Dust 250. It can be simple dust with 4 nozzles, or then double dust. And the maximum pressures and flows are same as in the HPW pumps. Then we have HPW Dust 220. So the pressure level is more or less same than the previous one, but the maximum water flow is higher. And then we have high flow dust suppression kits, HPW Dust 180, HPW Dust 130. Then how to choose the correct product? And it would be easy to say that if you are aiming at controlling the dust that comes from the attachment, demolition attachment itself, then 250 is quite enough for any normal size attachment. Then if a bigger double dust function is needed, or the attachment is, let's say, exceptionally big, then 220 would be recommendable. And then the bigger flow dusts are, I think it comes from especially from customer requirement. Maybe they want to spray around the water or they want to have a lot of dust spraying going into the falling debris. So let's say that the higher flow dust kits are by, let's say, when the customer really demands high flow and a really effective dust suppression for some reason. In normal standard situation, the smaller ones, 250 and 220, are quite enough. And as mentioned previously already, the nozzles should be installed as close to the source of the dust as possible. If you can get them into attachment itself, that's great. But maybe if you have rotating attachment, then you need to place the spray nozzles into the tip of the boom as close as possible. This way you will have effective water mist surrounding the dust, and the dust can't escape. If you have double dust nozzles, you can use it to power up the dust control effect at the attachment, or if required, the nozzles can be aimed differently, for example, down where the debris is falling. The falling debris also creates quite a bit of dust, so that's one option. It was already in the video, so not too much time for this. But like said, the water can come from tank on top of the machine, or maybe the tank is built on top of the counterweight of the machine, or it can come from a tap. And just to make sure there that the hose is correct diameter to prevent any problems in the water suction, and also the length, that there wouldn't be any problems with the water suction. If the water line you have connected, it has reasonable pressure, then the hose length it's not so relevant, because there's feeding pressure coming from the water source. The length of the hose is more relevant when the water is coming from the tank. Okay, briefly, just as an example, some about the connection to the hydraulics of HPW Dust. Here in the picture, number one, we have a HPW pump VRP8 version. So we already have flow control, hydraulic flow control, and we have hydraulic pressure control, as VR is the flow limiter and PA is the pressure limiter. In the picture, we have number 7, that's the solenoid valve. So hydraulic on, hydraulic off, meaning pump on, pump off. And it's connected by number 8 to the machine main hydraulic pump. The pressure hose of the machine is taken away from the pump. Our DYNASET pressure compensator is installed in between the pump and the hose. And there's LS line, the orange line from PC side to the pump. That's load sensing line. And the red one is the pressure line. So what this installation does, it takes only the wanted flow for the DYNASET application, and all the rest is for the machine to use normally. So not very complicated. One solenoid valve and one PCSI pressure compensator has to be installed in this case, and all the rest is quite basic hosing and couplings. Another option, this open center, this system what we have here, that would be for many machine brands, very normal, like Hitachi, Doosan, Volvo. They would have this kind of dust system installation. And here's Workload Center. Quite similar. Again, there's VRP8 pump, there's solenoid valve, but this time there's no pressure compensator PC side. There's only T coupling that's connected into the machine hydraulic pump pressure line. And then we have the orange LS line, LS signal, load sensing signal coming from the pump to the machine. So there's LS signal coming from the valve, and if there's no LS signal, then the machine gets LS signal from the pump, and the pump maintains active. These are not the only ones. There are many, many different kind of hydraulic systems, but if we get the information of the machine, we can help you out to choose correct installation method. This method is quite close what Komatsu would have, only difference that there wouldn't be a shuttle valve. There would be only check valve going into specific part of the LS line of the machine. But one example, it's to show it's not really complicated installation. Okay. Then we have KPL, different product, high pressure street washing unit. And some of the key benefits of this product, before we see the video, I'll just highlight some of them. It uses high water pressure and low water consumption. It's coming in the video, but the hydraulic power is pressure times flow, and same in water also. So when we have high pressure, we can get the same impact force with less water than using a lot of water and low pressure. So we have low water consumption, so the water tank for the task can be smaller, or it has to be filled less frequently. High water pressure cleans really deep the surface we are working on. Because if we just, let's say we spray water on the asphalt, it's just washing away the most top part of the mud, but all the pores in the asphalt, they are going to stay full with mud and dust, and when the surface dries again, the dust is rising in same way than before. But with high pressure, we can get the surface really clean. And comparing to brushing the asphalt, also this is dust-free method, as the water mist itself that we are using for cleaning is also binding the dust. And to this unit, we can also include manual washing, because let's say brushing machine, you can just clean the street, but then you have statues, you have fences, you have benches in the park or at the street side. So there's no way how to clean them. But as we are using water, it's easy to include manual washing for other objects or places of difficult access. Okay, let's see the video.
I just jumped on top of the seat of a small tractor, which is equipped in front with a high-pressure street washing unit. And this typical assembly is very popular to go and wash, for example, parking lots. So DYNASET street washing unit is actually the attachment that you see here in front of the small tractor. The module is delivered as an all-in-one, very compact assembly that just needs to be connected to the courier machine. So depending on the front attachment plate of the courier machine, we will adapt the attachment hooks that will be screwed directly on the street washing unit. Then you just need to plug with 2 hoses to the hydraulics of the tractor. A pressure hose with a tank hose. The heart of the system is this hydraulically driven high pressure water pump. We will talk about those pumps later on in that video, but they have an excellent power to size ratio. They are small and light. They can run dry. They have an integrated hydraulic drive, and they are very cheap in maintenance. This block here is the 3-2 pressure compensated flow control valve that will guarantee that the right flow at the right pressure will go to the hydraulic driven pump. This specific unit here is equipped with 2 separate but identical water tanks. Actually, depending on the models, you will get from 1 to 4 of those tanks on your street washing unit. The refilling is very easy. It's done from the top through the opening, which is here. The water connection between the tanks and the pump actually happens on the bottom, where you have a connector together with a suction hose and a filter to make sure that the quality of water that goes into the pump is as good as possible. So once the water goes into the pump and comes out of it under high pressure, it goes directly into the front spray bar, which is equipped with high pressure nozzles. This spray bar is controlled either electrically or hydraulically to make sure that the operator who sits behind the wheel on the tractor can very easily turn the pipe and efficiently remove the dirt away from the pathway. When you go on the field to perform street cleaning jobs, very often you will be in an urban environment, which means that you would also need, for example, to clean road signs, benches, bus stops, and so on. For that reason, the unit is equipped with a kit that consists of a hose reel, a 20-meter high-pressure hose, and a high-pressure washing pistol to be able to manually clean anything that would be around you. So the switch from street cleaning unit to hand cleaning unit happens through this ball valve by changing the position of the handle like this. Thanks to this short demonstration, I hope that you had a good grasp of what DYNASET High Pressure Street Washing Unit is all about.
Okay, that was the presentation video of the KPL unit. Okay, there are several models, and before we go into them, I would like to highlight some main issues when choosing the right version of the KPL. First of all, the machine lift capacity. The product itself has some weight. It's not really heavy, but then the water tank is attached to it, so that has to be one consideration. Then machine width. The washing width should be always bigger than the machine width. This to maintain efficiency. If, let's say, if we have really wide machine and really short spray bar, then if we go near any wall, for example, the spray bar doesn't reach near the wall. So, although next to the wall, you would have to clean separately or leave it dirty. So the working area of the spray bar that should be wider than the machine. Then there's hydraulic capacity of the machine. All the cleaning and moving the material in front of the machine is done by, of course, the water power. And if the machine doesn't have enough hydraulic capacity to provide enough pressure or enough hydraulic flow to have enough water output, then it's not suitable. So machine has to have enough hydraulic power. Taking taking these three main points in consideration, just choose the biggest one you can get, because with bigger model, bigger water tank, wider work area, you can get the job done faster. So the bigger the better, with limitations. And here we are not going to read all the values here, but show some points here. Let's compare, for example, this KPLS on the left-hand side, KPLS 250. We go down 1, 2, 3 boxes, and we get the working width. The spray bar is actually 125 centimeters, but as the spray is, let's say, flat spray with an angle, the working width is 150 centimeters. So the machine for this should be, let's say, 150 centimeters or less wide to keep it effective. Then if we go to the other extreme, KPL XL 180, the working width is 250 centimeters. Okay, so as you can see, this already suits for quite big machines. And we can see also the water tank size. So if we think about the lifting capacity, what I was saying, KPL S250, the product itself, the water tank has capacity of 270 liters. So it means that if it's full, it's 270 kilos. And here on the right-hand chart, we can see that the weight of the unit itself is 80 kilos. So the machine lifting capacity should be at least 350 kilos, and then it can lift the product with the full water tank. Okay, so these are all quite self-explaining values, so we don't have to read all one by one. By the way, Olli has shared all the data sheets of these products in the chat. So if you are now participating live, you can get the data sheets of these products from the chat. If you want to see these values, and these are just example values. Data sheets have more information. About the water tank, it's modular, so it's divided. Every tank module is 270 liters. KPL M has 540 liters. Then L models have 810 liters, and XL, they have 1,080 liters maximum capacity. So they have already 4 modules of water tank. And one part of the KPL is the attachment. And we have, just to show you quickly, that we have attachments available for most of the most common machines. It's also possible to make the quick attachment yourself or buy it locally. Shouldn't be a problem either, but we can offer them to go with your KPL product. Okay, so the unit we saw in the video and what we have handled so far has been the basic model with everything combined together. But it's also possible to have this kind of system so that the parts are separate. Maybe there's not such lifting capacity in front of the machine, or maybe you have already some of the parts. In the big picture, you can see the parts here. You can see water pump. In the blue hose, there's water filter. Between the pump and the reel, you can see the hydraulic valve. There's the nozzle bar with turning device. So only thing missing is the tank, the water cistern for the water. And on the smaller picture, right-hand side, you can see that all these parts, they can be installed everything in this front part with nozzle bar, or if you need, you can install them somewhere else. Like you see this example picture of a tractor there. The front part with nozzle bar above here is in the above tractor picture here. It's installed in front. Then it obviously has a big water tank in a trailer, and the water pump and the manual washing unit has been installed separately behind the tractor. Or other option, everything installed in front and just getting the water from the tank. So all these washing can with reel can be bought separately, pump unit only. If you want to build everything else by yourself, you can buy this pump unit, having the hydraulic valving, HPW pump and suction filter included in one kit, or then the front part. And one option also, that you have everything else in the tank, but not the nozzle bar with turning device. So in this example, for example, the tractor has this tank part with pump and manual washing behind, and then separately this F model, this front part in front of the tractor. And truck. KPL truck includes all the main components, just as before, excluding water container. And the front part is a little bit different to make the attaching the nozzle bar easier in front of the truck. Hydraulic pump and hose reel would be then installed separately somewhere else in the vehicle. So maybe this was a little bit confusing with so many different models, but here as recap, KPL Basic was all in one. Then you can buy the KPL F, the front part, which has the washing pipe frame. KPL F pump unit having the HPW pump, water filter and valves. And then the washing pistol unit separately. Or then you can buy KPL R, which had everything else except the washing pipe. But then you can get the KPL F here from above, and then you have everything. And the KPL truck has everything except the water container. This is also, I think this is in the data sheet, so you don't have to memorize everything. But just to recap how the KPL is built. And in the manual, you can find then, I'm not going into details because time is going so fast, but you can write the correct way how to aim the nozzle bar for street washing. Because you can lose a lot of cleaning power if the angle is not good. If it's spraying really far, then the washing result it's not going to be optimal. So please pay attention to the adjustments. Okay, couple of products to go. These are a little bit shorter presentations. I'm afraid this is going to take more than an hour. I hope you're all bearing with me. Some key benefits, like always, DYNASET products are really compact because the hydraulic pump and all the is really small HPW pump. And as we are using high pressure water, it optimizes water consumption and saves plenty of water. Again, we use a lot of high pressure, really high pressure and low water, but we get the same water power than with high flow and low pressure. And the difference is that when you have really dirty or sticky material, high pressure gives the best washing result. Also, HPW water pressure is a little bit pulsating, which actually is just a good thing when you're cleaning things up. As we use low water flow, that also means that there's low pressure loss in the hose going into the sewer, and we can use smaller diameter hose. Let's see a video about PPL, pipe cleaning unit.
Just behind me, we have designed a high-pressure pipe cleaning unit. DYNASET pipe cleaning unit comes mounted on a very robust and compact frame. It all starts from a hydraulic flow that would go through a set of valves that guarantees that the right pressure with the right flow goes into the HPW high pressure water pump. You will have the pump, which is actually the heart of the system. DYNASET pumps are extremely small, very light, can run dry, are cheap in maintenance, both labor and parts, which makes it a very efficient piece of equipment to perform all kinds of power washing tasks and jobs. A hose reel with a high pressure hose of a length of 50 meters up to 100 meters, depending on the pump model. Then a high pressure nozzle at the end of the hose. This nozzle is specifically designed for cleaning pipes. You have a hole in the front to clear dirt from the pipe and allow the nozzle to go forward, and a few hoses in the back that will push the nozzle so that it will push itself forward up to easily 50 to 60 meters horizontally and up to 15 to 20 meters vertically. So the standard unit is actually controlled manually. So you have 4 positions: reel out, reel in, stop, and free position. So on top of this whole unit, we offer as option the possibility to purchase a full power washing kit made of a high pressure washing pistol and a hose reel that allows you to perform any kind of cleaning tasks that you would need to have to do on the work site. We have now changed environments, and we're actually on the job site where we are going to perform some pipe cleaning job. High pressure water is definitely a must when you need to empty and clean various types of pipes, drains, sewers, and even rain gutters. DYNASET manufactures an all-in-one high pressure cleaning unit that needs only to be plugged to the hydraulics of any type of vehicles. Since the unit is fully hydraulically controlled, it is very compact and very light. The advantage of the equipment is that it naturally generates a very small square wave pulse that brings 2 very strong benefits. The first one is that it makes it easier for the nozzle to progress into the clogged pipe. Its penetration is actually from 10 to 15% more effective than with other systems of similar power. The second advantage is that it definitely helps to remove all the dirt off the pipe. So we are now standing in front of a private home where we are going to perform some pipe cleaning job. The pipe actually goes from the bottom of the wall of the house through a well all the way down to the ditch, which is just behind me. The pipes are cleaned and neat, the customer is happy, the job was done in no time, and a minimum amount of water was used. So I hope that this demonstration gave you a very good overview of how efficient DYNASET high pressure pipe cleaning unit is.
All right, that was Hugh Lambert again, presenting our products. Well, as Hugo already said on the video, the basic structure is hydraulic valving, HPW pump, hydraulically driven hose reel, and as optional, manual washing reel and washing gun. Model selection, we have 4 basic models. PPL 200 made out of HPW 200, one with HPW 220, one with HPW 180, and one with HPW 460. 460 bars of water pressure maximum. And while you're looking at the PPL unit model selection and maybe purchasing one thing is hydraulic capacity of the vehicle again. So there's no point of getting a PPL unit with a really high capacity HPW pump if there's not enough hydraulic capacity for that. So that's one thing to take in count. Required hose length. HPW 460 has 100 meters hose, and or if you have or your customer has required water flow, water pressure combinations. Of course, if you have a bigger capacity HPW, you can make bigger pipes, and maybe limiting the hydraulics. You can use also them for smaller pipes. But if you have a small HPW 200 unit, then it's mainly for smaller diameter piping. Some optional equipment. The manual washing reel and pistol was already mentioned, but in the video you saw basic M model. Maybe you saw that the person working with the unit was using manual levers to control the unit. It's also possible to have 12 volts or 24 volt electric control valves to control the hose reel and pump with button control. And if you have electric control, you can also have remote control. Remote control is really a great option when you are working alone. When you are feeding the hose into the piping or into the sewage, you can with the remote control you can reel out and put the pump on, pump off without going to the actual unit. So that's a really good option. It's not too expensive either. And I really recommend also this manual washing equipment. Even the hose itself, in some occasions when you are reeling it back, it's really dirty. So sometimes you might just want to wash the PPL hose itself or the surroundings, or so it's really recommendable option also. There are also existing special nozzles, for example, root cutter nozzles, rotating nozzles, and defrosting nozzles, maybe combined with the DYNASET WHU water heating unit to defrost pipes. In the picture, you can see a little bit mixed product. It's a KPL cistern base with PPL units. So installed on top of the cistern. And actually in the PPL basic unit, when you have the manual washing reel of 20 meters, you can get extra 20-meter hose section and pipe cleaning nozzle and use it for a small piping cleaning where if necessary. Okay, last product. Thank you for being so patient. Key benefits is the hydraulic drive of the hydraulic submersible pump makes the unit really small. It can be just carried out even up to quite big units. You can move them by hand, comparing to electric motors which are quite heavy. And naturally, electricity and water are not really a good combination in an environment where you have a lot of wear and tear. So hydraulic drive is a lot more safer. Let's see our area sales manager Janne Hietamäki to present the product.
Let's have a closer look at the HSP submersible pump. The structure is real simple. You have the hydraulic drive. Inside, you have the impeller, which is the pump's core. That does all the pumping inside. You have two connected discharge channels, and you have the strainer mesh on the bottom. Whatever goes through the mesh can actually go through the pump, and if there's some organic material when pumping, like muck and pieces of wood or whatever might be inside the liquid you're pumping, the impeller actually chops it up and thus makes it possible to pump even the organic material. The models in question on the table are the HSP 1500, which is this one here. This is capable of pumping 2,000 liters or 520 gallons a minute. And the second one, this one here, this would be the HSP 2600, which is capable of pumping 3,000 liters or 792 gallons a minute. Here we have the HSP 4000, which is capable of pumping 5,000 liters or a little over 1,300 gallons a minute. The basic structure is still the same. You have the combined discharge channels, you have the hydraulic drive and the connections, you have the impeller inside, and you have the same strainer mesh as the smaller models. Now, as the pump range goes all the way up to 20,000 liters or a little over 5,000 gallons a minute, please visit our webpage and download our data sheet for the HSP to see the whole range. Next, let's see how the smallest one, the HSP 600, actually works.
Okay. Really shortly, Janne explained this already, so there's not much to tell about the structure. Hydraulic motor rotates the impeller and water flows into the pump through the suction strainer. The impeller pushes the liquid to the outlet channels, and then outlet pipes are connected to each other. Combined water flow from quick coupler up on the top of the pump is then going to the drain hose. Installation is extremely easy. Connect pressure port to the correct port, tank port to the tank port. Connect the drain hose, usually lie flat hose, to the quick coupling, and submerge the pump, connect hydraulics, and there you go. I would recommend in some cases, if this is used with many different machines, for example, to have a VR flow limiter in the pressure line to avoid overspeeding. Because some of the machine might have a less capacity and some of the machine would have more hydraulic capacity. So just to avoid that the hydraulic motor rotates too fast, for example, when the pump is in the air. That's really, really cheap, secure for the hydraulic part. And model selection, as Janne said, is huge. We have 7 different sizes of the HSP pump. And if we are looking at the first chart, we can see that this 2600 model, it's 2600 liters with 5-meter head, weighs only 20 kilos. So every normal working person would be able to carry that, and even 4000, HSP 4000 is 45 kilos, 7000, 54 kilos. So they are really, really lightweight. If not one person, then easily with 2 persons, you can carry all of the models. This can be used for many different purposes. For example, in agriculture, to empty some excavation or different kind of pools, what they have, filling up tanks. In rescue, for example, there's a flooding house or something similar, or you have to fill up a fire truck from a lake, filling up tanks. HSP is actually with really good product to go with any other application of DYNASET HPW pumps to fill up the tank you are using really fast. You just need, if you have some kind of tank for what you're using. Yeah, so really, this is really great product, and please check our website for more information. Okay, I have overviewed the time at this part. If you have any questions, I'm happy to answer. I assume that so far there haven't been questions. Thank you, Judith. Gonna see the chat. Yeah. Okay. I think we're going to end the webinar here, and this will be, of course, available watching this recorded later on, like all the webinars. Thank you very much.